growing up in Oklahoma, I grew up in a family that was very hardworking. I had grandparents that both had entrepreneurial spirits. They both were not traditional. They kind of marked out their own path as well as my mom did as well. And so grew up with pretty hard work ethic, but also kind of like a spirit of entrepreneurialism, a spirit of you don't have to do it just like everybody else. You know, working here at Watered Gardens in the Outreach Center, what was probably immediately surprising and not surprising is how many folks come in automatically with I guess I'd call it maybe a dependent mindset, that the golden ticket is to have, that welfare check. The golden ticket is to be on food stamps. And I mean, there's not a desire to change or do something different. Their whole goal is, well, if I can just do this, then I'm going to get support for the rest of my life. And if I can just convince them that I'm disabled in some capacity, then I can get support for the rest of my life. Not to say that there's not some validity for some of that, but that's been pretty eye-opening. Here at the Outreach Center, it is an emergency shelter, and so the tension that we often live in is that folks coming here, for the most part, are just saying, hey, I just want a bed. I don't really want any of this other stuff. But we're inviting them to really, to want other things, to desire other things, to try to inspire them to want more than just that, to see that there's even more than the way that they've been living. You want to see people break free from the cycles that they're stuck in. And so a huge piece of that has been helping them with the front end part of maybe it's addiction or mental health, but then really kind of getting on an employment pathway. So what I mean by that is, just locally speaking, if someone wants to get help with housing, well, that may be needed. I'm a firm believer that most people can probably do it on their own and earn a good wage and get into housing. But maybe there's a situation from a disability or just the inability to work and really make enough. Okay, so they need help with housing. Well, locally, to get help with housing, you've got to sign up for food stamps first. And that really is the bottom level for us here, is always sign up for food stamps, and that it becomes a little bit of a hook, right? You want housing, but you got to get this first, so you get on that. Well, then the tendency is to push a bunch of other things on someone, whether they need them or not. And what we fight against often is someone coming into shelter and then all of a sudden they're asking me, how do I get on this? How do I get on that? Because someone told me that you could get on this and you could have this. And I'm like, I said, wouldn't it be easier if you just got a job? It's not a linear thing. It's not like come into shelter and then, 6 months you're in your own apartment and doing great. It's more like here, you come in one day and for some, 6 months they're great. Others, they come in and they bounce out, and they come in and it may be 10 years, but finally something happens and that thing that needs to happen happens and they make that step, and that's a good thing to see.